Hi guys, welcome back to Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp, the ultimate summer camp podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Callum.
And today we're going to talk about being a sports coach at camp. So being a sports coach, sort of a very sought after job. I think it's something a lot of people imagine doing when they go to camp. Sort of spending all day doing different sports activities. Obviously camp is a very active place for regardless of what job you do. But being a sports coach is sort of that guarantee you're going to be spending all your day, about in a lovely field, beautiful sunshine, just sort of running around playing different games with the kids. So yeah, today we're just sort of going to cover sort of how we became sports coach, what it's actually like, some tips and tricks, what it's like working with different counsellors and staff, and yeah, just sort of some recommendations and a bit of an insight into what it's actually like. So yeah, just start with Cal. How did you sort of come about being a sports coach? Is something you wanted to do? What sort of like your past sport experience to sort of let you into it?
Yeah, so I started camp as a general counsellor. Literally was with the youngest group of kids. This was range from around 7 to around 9-year-olds. Mm-hmm. So this is classed as the juniors. And basically as the camp counsellor at this point in my time at camp, I was taking the kids around to all these activities that I later down the line will be able to coach. I would take them from activity to activity, and I was able to take part in myself. So for anyone who is signed up as a camp counsellor per se, that is the sort of role that you'll be doing, which is very beneficial for some people because you get to meet people way before others. I knew some people who were doing sports coaching who never got to see the other side of camp because they were too busy having fun doing their own sport. Whereas I met staff quicker, you get a much better bonding experience
with the kids, definitely.
With your group of kids, especially in your cabin. It was really good, absolutely loved it, and you put the mileage in, you do a lot of steps.
No, definitely, yeah, that's, again, it applies to any point of camp, the amount of steps you put in, the amount of, you're not guaranteed to sort of get fit at camp, but I was too sore my first summer.
You're going to gain weight or you're going to lose it. Somehow it's going to go one way. But halfway through camp, I wanted to switch up a bit, and I had a couple of things on my contract. So I had volleyball, I had bungee. I've never done bungee in my life, and that was on, like the little trampolines in the middle of my so I had that. I had football, soccer, and I think that was it. So I became head of volleyball, which is something that I did in college. So absolutely loved the fact that I was able to head that. Literally had my own group of kids that would come every single day. That's what made it feel so much better. Because I went to sort of the sports coaching side, I went and got put with the older boys, so the oldest boys, because with the young ones, you have to be with them all the time. And obviously if I'm going out to coach, and probably the same applies to you.
Yeah,
the older boys, they're a bit more, the grown-ups, they can take care of themselves. But my camp's a little different to yours. I didn't have to stay with my kids at all. Until it was dinner time, lunchtime, breakfast, and rest period.
That's different to mine. So my one was basically you had the same group of campers that you took to every single activity. So there's 36 in total, and then 6 that were in your cabin that you spent the whole day with every single activity. So obviously as a general counsellor, like you said, which I was my first summer, I spent the whole time following the kids around. It's all linked into why I wanted to be a sports coach, because every time I took the campers to what we call ball field, which was our sports section, I just wanted to spend the whole day there. I didn't want to go to the next activity. I just wanted to play all the different sports with them. So basically how I became a sports coach, sort of hop into my story. I did a lot of sport growing up. My experience was in football, tennis, mainly, a bit of rugby as well. And I just enjoyed doing sports, coaching kids, coached football teams, that sort of thing. So when I went to camp, my first one was a general counsellor. I was sort of thinking back in my mind, it'd be really cool to just teach sport at camp as well. One thing to stress just at the beginning, you don't need qualifications or certificates in most experiences. The way I got it was just being a general counsellor my first summer, applied for the job my second summer, and just because I was passionate and worked with kids before, obviously at camp and before, they were like, you'll be fantastic for this role. So I didn't know, at your camp, did you require certificates or qualifications?
Not necessarily. And I say this to people all the time. I was like, if you know how to kick a ball, it's not the Olympics. These are kids.
No, definitely.
If you know the rules and sort of the pattern of how to structure training or something like that, it's not even that deep to go into. If you can do a passing drill where you just get the kids to pass to each other and it helps them, great, that's simple. It doesn't have to be really in depth. Some camps, I don't know if yours did, but you can have personal training
No,
So,
my camp didn't do that.
yeah, so my camp, it was like you could do one-to-one basis and get paid for it.
Okay, that's cool.
So you focus on something that the parents have specifically asked for.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had, funnily enough, we had one of Sir Alex Ferguson's
Yeah,
grandkids
yeah.
who just had specific training for like the entire time he was there.
Was it for football?
Yeah, for football.
Yeah.
You know, you'd put time out of your day to put that to the side. But that's like I said, whoever gets assigned that most likely will have feel most comfortable to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I did that, but with my volleyball.
Yeah. I think that was one of the key differences between my camp and your camp. Your camp, we didn't have separate sports coaches for individual sports.
Yeah.
So me and I worked in a team of 3. We were responsible for the entire. We had to mix up the sports the kids did each day and sort of train them in different parts of it and keep it fresh and exciting. Well, it seems like your camp, if you were just doing volleyball, you could probably do a bit more one-to-one focus, build up the skills throughout the summer.
Yeah, exactly. So like how ours was structured in the morning is we'd have periods. Mm-hmm. So we had period 1 to 8.
Yeah.
And on our card as a staff member, it'd be like period 1 to 3 you'll do volleyball, and then period 4 till 5 you'll do bungee.
Right, okay.
How many kids did you have in your cabin?
So, well, actually per lesson. So the way it worked was, again, we had like 36 kids per a village, if that makes sense. And I taught like 6 villages a day. So we would have all 36 kids come down at once, and we would have to teach them whatever sport we decided that day in about an hour period.
So it wasn't set?
It was not set at all, no. So we sort of knew we'd be getting each sort of group of kids each day, but we sort of had to remember what did they do last time, what are they going to work on this time, how can we mix it up, keep it interesting. So it took a lot of planning between me and the rest of the sports team, the ball field team, to sort of keep it engaging and fresh, because they came every single day. And also as well, this is sort of the good part, it gives a lot of freedom as well. So we were allowed to sort of make our own schedule. We were allowed to ask for certain equipment and get that, and have complete freedom over the planning. Whilst it sounds like yours, obviously very beneficial in that the kids know what sport they're going to be directly going to before.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot more structured.
Our kids in the morning had a little sheet, and they were we would all sit on our tables for our desired sport in the morning. So I'd sit at the volleyball table, and these kids would all have a bit of paper with the periods on it, and they would run to the different stations, whether that's tennis, football, anything, and be like, oh, can I have volleyball for period 4? And that's how the kids would do it, and they have complete freedom to roam around. Yeah. But this is what I think we try and say to sort of like everyone else who wants to do this program is every camp is different.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think different. The course of this 10-minute conversation so far, we did the same sports coach job, completely different ways of doing it. Yeah.
Like I had. So your actual cabin that you slept in with the kids, how many did you have in?
So we had 6 per cabin, but obviously the cabin was within a village, so it was like 6 kids in the cabin, 6 cabins in a village. That whole village would go to each activity.
So how many staff was in a cabin?
About 2 or 3.
See, that's crazy, because I had 22 16-year-old boys with 2 members of staff.
Yeah, it's just completely different ratios. Yeah,
it's crazy. And going back to like the sports and stuff, I absolutely loved it. Like I had a lot of mixed gender come to my volleyball course.
Oh right, okay, that's
and cool. There's a lot of different. Volleyball's not a popular sport. Let's be realistic. But the weather, it was perfect for it.
I think a lot of people picture like playing volleyball on the beach when they go to America, maybe. Like
what you do. Like I was fully on the sand. Like the kids would come over, there'd be drills. I'd have drills already set up. I'd have literally, even without doing personal one-to-one training, getting paid extra for it, I'd go through and help them show how to serve, show them like different aspects to it. Like if you have confidence in your serve, if you look directly above the volleyball net line. That's where the ball's going to go. You just got to have faith in yourself, and you do all of these little things. These kids would literally write me letters when the day they leave saying, "You've changed my whole like you've made my life so much better by helping me do this, and this is a sport I want to do when I go back
definitely
home."
Yeah, it's great when you see sort of that passion ignite. Like
it makes you cry.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like a kid can come to camp, never played volleyball in their life, give them 6 weeks of a fun time, good coaching, then they can go and play that for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
I think that's what I found as well, because again we had to sort of coach the bigger groups. Actually, how many did you have per session?
So it was come and go as like I said, it depends on how many sign up. So I would turn up, I would have the amount of my paper, and then when it comes to the actual periods, period 2, I would have like 27 written down, but I would be the only person in charge of those 27 kids. Yeah. Which for some people might sound very overwhelming, but when it's like I say, it's up to you and how well you want to stand out doing that. So I had drills dependent on the size.
Okay,
so if I had 27 or 28 people, okay, I already know I'm going to split that up with 14 to 7, and we're going to do rallies, we're going to do games, and it made the kids like stay on the toes, especially for the ones that weren't actually bothered. They were just doing it to fill in a period.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like, and the event, like, they proper got into it because it brings out the competitive side that everybody has.
That's the good part as well, is sort of getting every kid interested. Obviously, every single kid that you are going to be coaching a sport is not going to be interested either in sports in general or specific sports, so it is important to mix it up and make them feel included. So the way I'll sort of just structure my lesson, just sort of go through it, so we'll have all like 36 kids and like 12 counsellors will come down, and that's about 40 to 50 people to manage, so making sure they're all included, being active in a 45-minute period. It's all resulting in like a lot of wider team games. So we used to do like warm-up games. I'm not sure if your camp had this. It was called like Sharks and Seaweed. It was basically British Bulldogs, but a lot less aggressive, I guess, than actually allow. So it was like the kids have to run from one side to the other. We gave out those pool noodles in like the big long ones. Yeah. And there was like 5 sharks, and then the seaweed had to run back and forth and not be hit by the pool noodle. If they got hit, they would join the other team pretty much.
Oh, right, okay.
But that used to win out, like everybody loved that game. It was so simple. They got like 50 people involved. But everyone just loved the chaos. Everyone was begging to be a shark and like running back and forth. I remember one day as well, we had ESPN visit our camp to like, they sort of sponsored my camp, and they bought like 40 of their own sort of people to help out. So I had a group of like 90 people of these ESPN people that came for a day.
That's crazy.
The camp is doing a normal lesson and the staff. And all I did was write a massive game of Sharks and Seaweed. So there was like 100 people, 10 sharks. I was there on my whistle just shouting. And then even the outside hires got into it.
That's mad.
Yeah, so it sort of just shows that like if you create fun games, fun engaging games, anyone can join them. And they can probably use these games outside the camp as well.
We had, I can't remember its name. Gaga, yes.
Thank you, Kate. Off screen there.
That's it. Yeah, no, Gaga.
Yeah, didn't have that.
That was, every kid loved it, and it took one counsellor to get in there, and every kid would target
go for that counsellor.
And the second they got out, every kid would be like, the kid who did it felt
like
a
massive
god.
That was like
ego.
Yeah,
I own this place. Everything.
It's good to boost them up.
Every kid, if you wanted to get kids involved, especially kids who are on the side, who are a bit down, you can tell they're not associated with other kids or stuff like that. They'll get involved with that.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good point to make, actually. So we used to do that a lot in dodgeball. Dodgeball is very a game we often use because, again, big teams, everyone get involved. But we had a variation of it where we had one camper be a knight. So you had to hit the knight, if that makes sense. And they had like a base at the back.
For one kid.
Yeah. So that was the game. So you had to protect the knight. So there's one cage. We had like a little crown we made, put them on the cage. They had a pool needles like a sword. And then you had like a little base at the back. And if someone else got hit with a dodgeball, they could run out and like revive them by touching the noodle and run back to base. And they were safe in the base. But what we used to often do is we pick the knight, and we used to pick the kid that might not be as engaged or sideline. Or if a counsellor came up to us and was like, "This counsellor having a tough day," we'd be like, "Do you want to be the knight?" And then that just energised the kid because they felt important within the team sport. And it just sort of gathered everyone together again, regardless of like whatever sort of camp dynamics happened. You protect your knight in dodgeball, and that was the end of it. But yeah, that's why being sports coach great again, because I think other parts of camps you do see all the kids, but probably in smaller groups. Like you probably can't teach. In my camp anyway, like we sort of split into groups of 12 for all over activities. Ballfield was the only one where all the campers were together at once. So being able to see like everyone interact together was really a good thing as a sports coach, which I don't think he quite got in other parts of camp.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like I said, like I did bungee as part of my contract. I've never done it before. So like I've never thought to ever think of knowing or what to do with this, but it was, I'd be lying on the trampoline, the sun's scorching, getting a nice tan. These kids have come on. I've learned how to use all the cables depending on weight, strap them in, and honestly, I had the best time of my life. And it's just the easiest thing in the world.
Definitely.
But like with obviously the sports coaching, you've got to do a lot more thinking. You don't necessarily do like a lot of people panic thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to spend like a week planning drills. You will literally think of something that morning to be like,
no, that was
we're gonna have a massive game.
Yeah,
we're just gonna have a game.
That's what we did. Again, as long as the kids are having fun, because obviously that camp for fun. Obviously, you do have your one-to-one training, the parents request it and stuff, but it's mainly about making sure that again they're active and they're having just a fun time with whatever sport you're doing. We found it quite important to sort of introduce different sports, because if my camp had the choice, it would have been basketball every single day.
Really?
My camp is obsessed with basketball. All I want to do is play basketball, like nothing else.
Ours was tennis.
Was it tennis? No, we didn't have the option of tennis, sadly. But the thing with basketball was, it's not a sport I'm particularly well versed in, being from the UK. It's not something that I play too much. These 8-year-old kids were dribbling around me, dunking on me, breaking my ankles, like so much better than me for all that. But then I sort of gained experience teaching basketball, which I didn't expect. Like, I was able to speak to my other counters a bit more well first. Even the campers gave me some tips, and by the end I felt I was a lot better at basketball. So I haven't sadly applied it over to the UK just yet, maybe this year. But again, like you said with the bungee, you learn to do a skill in sport that you never expected. And that's a great opportunity about camp. Like, I got hired being a sports coach, football and tennis is my speciality, but I learned how to do kickball, basketball, all this other stuff I didn't imagine. Archery as well. Like, I got trained up to be an archery instructor, which I think when I first became a sports coach, I expected it just to be like a UK PE lesson, maybe.
Yeah, no, it literally is.
Yeah, and it was that, but it was like more freedom to it as well, which was fantastic.
And we have so much stuff here in the UK that they don't do over there, and they are absolutely love it.
Yes, I remember introducing cricket to the kids.
Rugby,
yeah, we did tag rugby. Yeah,
no kids do. Yeah, for whatever reason, like most camps don't do rugby, but the kids love it.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, because I've never been exposed to it before.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like simple things like we have a tag in your pocket or a bib in the side of your pants, and you have to try and grab it and pull it off. Yeah, the kids loved it, and they're like, "Why have we never done this before?"
Yeah, I think that aids as well, like the sort of the general international feel of camp, that you've got people from all different areas coming in and teaching these kids their sports that's normal to them.
100%.
And then it works over to there as well.
The thing that I think a lot of people will need to get used to is the lingo.
Yes, the football soccer thing. That's the main one you see. Yeah.
When they hear one of us from Britain speak, especially my accent, everyone just thinks Britain is associated to London.
Oh yeah, the kids couldn't understand me most of the time with my somewhat Geordie accent. But
what? Yeah, I'm like, no, stop.
Stop it. Yeah, we have that every time whenever we played. I felt like we're having a game of footy, and the kids are like, "What are you on about?"
We've got the lingo for like football and stuff, and they're like, "What on earth is that?" Like heads and volleys.
Yeah, heads and volley. Yeah, World Cup Willie. Yeah,
that like when you introduced that to the kids, they were like really could not understand the concept of it, but when you broke it down, they were actually like, this is sick.
No, that's what I mean. I remember shouting, "How's your touch?" at a kid. And he was like, what you want? Obviously, my first touch of football. When I signed up as a sports coach, like, all I wanted to do was play football. And I felt like primarily or mentally just dribbling on the kids at first, like the ones that hadn't been trained up and stuff. But again, I think that was one of the most bonding things, because the international staff obviously love football, like most people play more outside America, but seeing the Americans get involved, and we used to have big camp games with the kids and stuff, and even a sport that's like massively popular elsewhere, it's probably like the 5th most popular sport in America. Seeing them sort of expand on that as well.
We had kids from all over, everywhere. I had kids from France. I had kids from Mexico. There was this one kid, my favourite kid.
Yeah.
I tell you now, every single sport, he was better than counsellors at.
Was he? And just naturally gifted. Yeah.
Nine. And he would megs you and literally laugh at you when he's done it. He would skill all the kids in the intercamp games against other camps. And it just make everything look easy. And he was loved by everyone. Yeah. And he didn't have a big ego.
That's what I say. If he has a good attitude to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the best thing is seeing the kids develop in the skills and what they've learned from you, and then hearing that feedback from parents when they perform.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is the most rewarding thing. Yeah. Like when I look back at it, and like when you think of going to camp for the first time, you're like, I'm working with kids. Like some people necessarily might not be the most favourite thing they're looking forward to. Yeah, but I tell you now, when it comes to your final 2 weeks of camp, the kids is what made your whole experience.
Oh, definitely.
Like I have friends from all around the world who went to camp. I'd love to go see them again. Dying to. I still see quite a lot of them, but I would go back for some of these kids.
That's again just
to see them grow. To see them grow.
That's a bit. Obviously, you've only done camp for one summer, but that was a benefit of me going back for a few years. Is that the kid that was quite a 12-year-old goes to a 14-year-old and sort of having that connection. And then also again with sport, like being able to sort of see just the development in that throughout the years as well, because that's something you can see when a kid gets a bit quicker and a bit taller and a bit stronger.
And you know that you've made
and you've made that difference.
That,
and also having one of my memories was like we were teaching again football to a camper. He came back the following summer and was speaking to me about how now he's part of a local soccer team because he enjoyed it so much at camp and what we did. So yeah, again, that sort of applies to all areas of camp, but I think with sport as well, it's something that people will it sort of becomes ingrained, I think, if you sort of into a sport.
You get that communication from, like, if you've really helped a kid out, I tell you now, the parents that approach you, like, of that kid, they are so grateful for what you do. I've had parents say to me, if you ever need a place to stay, where we live in Florida or something, you are more than happy to do. Because the thing is, like, this, especially the kids who get like private trained,
definitely,
they obviously go and do tournaments and stuff outside of it. I've had parents literally invite me to come over just to watch them go in a tournament. I'm like, I would love to. I was like, because I know that I've made a contribution towards this kid, and he's not only learned it at camp, but he's also took it outside of camp and wanted to make it part of his personality.
I think it's a great point as well of, like, the campers getting so much out of it, but the fact that we get these opportunities to go back and I mean, you probably could have a coaching job coaching a child in America right now if you wanted to, and also when you come back to the UK, the fact if you are interested in being a sports coach, maybe you want to be a PE teacher or just coaching your local community, the fact you will have experience coaching in America is priceless. Like, it's not a lot of...
It's life-changing.
It's life-changing, yeah. It's not like, when I put that down on my CV, first thing any employee speaks to me about is, so you coach in America, like, tell me about it. And it's such a good opportunity for that. Yeah, so sort of just to wrap things up quickly, would you be a sports coach again? Would it be something you'd be very keen to sort of go for?
100%. It gave me a lot of freedom. It gave me a lot more personal gratification that I've helped these kids. And you actually get to interact with a lot more kids that aren't your own.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
So you gain 10 times more relationship. Yeah. You get a lot more personal thank yous from, like, the parents.
Definitely.
And trust me, it goes a long way when it comes to, like, the managers and the directors at camp.
For the future, yeah.
Exactly. Definitely. So, like, I had the opportunity to go and be, like, senior staff, and it would be my second year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is a big thing.
Yeah, it's like I'm myself going as a team leader back to camp this summer. And I think a lot of that's because I know how to handle big groups and mix things up and stuff, 100%. And then that's only came through being a sports coach.
You just become everyone's favourite,
exactly.
Whether it's staff, whether it is kids, and even, like I said, the directors. It just goes a long way, and I 1,000,000% recommend it to anyone. Just make sure it's the sport that you know you'd love to do for, like, a full summer. Yeah, definitely. I feel like commit to it. But a lot of people love the pool and, like, the lake because obviously when it's hot,
it's always nice to cool off after a day in the sport to go on the lake afterwards. But I think just to sort of summarise it, I remember being stood teaching football, all these kids running around. My sports field was right next to a beautiful lake, sun was setting. I just wrote my name on, like, the sports cabin, so I'm immortalised forever in that section. And I remember looking around thinking, I'm never going to have a better office than this in my life, like a more enjoyable experience. So yeah, sports coaching, so fun. Obviously every job's fun at camp, but I think being a sports coach will always be a special place in my heart.
Anyone else's experience will be different to ours as well.
Yeah, and then you'll come back to us probably when you return from camp in September, whenever you go, and have your own unique sports games and kids you trained up and all these experiences. Exactly. That sort of concludes the Sports Coaching AmeriCamp podcast. We'd love to hear from you guys. Do you want to be a sports coach? Any questions, just let us know. We'll be happy to respond to them. And let us know what else you want to hear on Around the Campfire with AmeriCamp in a future podcast. But for now, see you guys later.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.